once you have your story, go and do it. There's always going to be roadblock. There's always going to be some reason why you can't do it. And your job is to go out there and figure out how to do it. Because like I said earlier, you're never going to have enough money. You're never going to have enough time, but you have limited resources. And so learn how to maximize that.
Hey guys, welcome to the show. We have some special guests for you today. Joining us, we have Ty and David of Light Hawk Studios. Yeah, give it up. Woo!
What's up, gang? How you guys feeling?
They have a project, Power Rangers Resurgence.
You are done here, Drake. Get out.
What? This wasn't me?
Doesn't matter. What did I say? Get out.
You want me?
Rise, Green Ranger.
So if you're a Power Rangers fan, you might have an extra special affinity for this, but me, I don't, but I really enjoyed it. So we're going to get into talking about these guys, how they made that happen and what brought about this concept. But first, I'll let each of these guys tell you a little bit more about themselves. So let's start with you, Ty. Who's the director, writer, by the way, of the project?
Absolutely. So what's up, gang? I'm Ty Hunt. Like she mentioned, I am the writer-director of this project. I kind of got started in commercials. That's where my first gig was. My very first gig out of school was actually a Budweiser commercial. I was a PA on it, and that commercial went on to win an Emmy. And so I was like, okay, I guess I'm doing the right thing, right? Because from that job, I got a bunch of other national spots and worked my way up to second unit director for a Disney and Coca-Cola job. And so I got a lot of really cool experience working on all those projects and getting involved with, production at that level. But commercials are fun and they pay the bills and they're, good. But, my heart is always in narrative. That's why I went to school in the first place. And so fast forward, many, many years after that, we started working on this project. And I've always been, into this world, like going back to '94 with the original Mighty Morphin Power Rangers. That was my jam, as corny as it was. I love those things. And ironically enough, when I was working at Disney, I got a chance to actually be a Power Ranger. I got to do like 5 different versions of these characters. And so Power Rangers is very much my roots. And so when I got the opportunity to do this project, I was like, yes, I'm going to do it no matter what. Let's figure it out. And so that's when I brought David on, because originally it was just supposed to be like this quick little thing where it's like, oh, this is kind of cool, cool action scenes, yada, yada, yada. And then it turned into like an actual season worth of stuff. And so I was like, hey, David, man, we got to make this happen because like I need your help with this.
Yeah, awesome. David, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Hi. Okay, so it's my turn. Mm-hmm. David Jones. I am a producer, writer for Light Hawk Studios, and currently the showrunner for this project that we're working on. Go to school, as Ty did for writing and directing. But what I did do is I was an actor throughout my entire childhood as far as drama is concerned, from, I want to say 5th grade all the way through my senior year, and I just absolutely loved it. I never thought I'd have an opportunity to get into that world. And Ty is the epitome of, if you're going up the ladder, you turn around and you pull somebody up. And he gave me this opportunity because as we always talked, because we've been friends for almost our entire lives.
Yeah.
And we always talked about these different movies or shows. And he was just telling me, man, like your perspective is amazing and this and this and that. And so he gave me an opportunity to start working with him. And we've been going ever since. This project, like you, I was like, okay, cool, Power Rangers. I wasn't like, ecstatic because I did watch when I was little, but like I only watched when I was little. Apparently, people kept watching, and I just didn't know how big the universe was, and so it intrigued me even more because I said this is going to be challenging because this isn't my world. But I have to start talking to people whose world it is and find out what's already been done, what would they want to see, like what would make this different than not just the shows, but the other fan projects that are out there. So I've heavily enjoyed this. The cast is absolutely brilliant and amazing at what they do. And I continue to appreciate Ty for giving someone like me this opportunity.
Excellent, excellent. So how did you guys meet? How did you?
Oh man, this is a long story.
In the crib?
Pretty much. We've known each other since we were like super knee high to a troll, man. We were like from the crib all the way up until, we're 40 years old now. So
you had to put our age out there like that. But yeah, this has been a 40-year friendship, which is probably one of the most rarest things that anybody can say. And in the strangest way, they moved to a place called Palm Bay, Florida, from San Antonio. And then we randomly moved to the same city. Yeah. And we randomly moved to the same city. This was not planned. We ran into each other like our families did. It was like, oh, wow. Like, how does that happen? So apparently, like, this friendship was destined.
Yeah.
Yeah, excellent. Okay, and so one thing that you mentioned, David, you said you did not go to film school. You did not pass go and collect $200. Was I correct about that?
That is correct.
Okay, so Ty, I didn't say it, but I really liked everything about this project.
Thank you.
Nothing missing, like, independent. So, and you know how you can have some budget problems and some things like that. It was like no empty holes or like they're overexposed here or there's no technical issues. It looks great.
Thank you.
The way it flowed, the camera movement. And there, just even a point where I felt like nothing was forced. You can use a crane or something, people use it or whatever, a drone shot. And I just felt like nothing unnecessary was added. So maybe is that attributed to your film school, or is it from working the team that you guys put together, more of that? Or is it like working in the industry, in the commercial business? Like, you said you're, a certain age, a young guy. Is it just over time you got this good? But so tell us.
I think it's a little bit.
Should we go to film school? I guess is what I'm saying.
It's really a bit of all three of those things that you mentioned, because like I'm very appreciative of the time that I spent in film school, because my background was on the other side of the camera. Like before I went to film school, I was an actor. I was, dancing, singing, acting in front of the camera and doing all that kind of fun stuff. And so I got that perspective. But when I went to film school, it opened up a whole nother side of this world that I didn't know about. And, not having grown up in the industry, like, in that aspect, it was a very good foundation. But from that, when I got out of school, because like I graduated and I was like, yeah, I'm good to go. I'm ready to do it. And then I get out to the actual industry and I'm like, oh crap, I know nothing. Because like when I was working on those commercials that I mentioned, I learned a whole lot, just from the producing side of it. Because I worked with a lot of really great production managers and producers, but also working with, the directors and the DPs and, some of the below the line crew, working with them. And so I got to learn like pretty much the entire gamut of how a production is run. I did work on, a lot of narrative stuff too. Like another one of my early jobs, I was working on Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. for Marvel out in LA. And so I got to learn that perspective. And so I took all of those different nuggets and I was like, okay, what can I use for myself? What can I keep in my back pocket? Because at the end of the day, it was all about how does all of this stuff tell a story? Because it doesn't matter what camera you use. It doesn't matter what equipment you have, whether you have a jib, whether you have, a crane, whatever, anything else. If that doesn't make any sense to the story, then it's pointless. You're just wasting time and money, right? And so those are the things that I really learned over the course of time working on these bigger productions so that I can use that on the smaller ones. Because I always said that it doesn't matter what the project is, it's all the same. The only difference is the scale of it. And so whether you're working on an indie level or working on the next Avengers with, $1 million bazillion to, shoot your stuff, you're never going to have enough money, you know, no matter how you slice it, there's never enough. There's never enough time, especially, and there's never enough money. And so once you understand those two aspects, then you start to realize, okay, what do I absolutely need? And how can I get the most out of what I currently have? And so that's the perspective that we took with this project, you know, because we didn't have a bazillion dollars to do all kind of stuff. But we were like, okay, what can we do? And we focused on that and really relied on the strength of that to tell our story.
Great. And where are you guys? Where did you shoot this?
So we filmed this in Atlanta, Georgia.
Are you guys there now, or it was just filming there? Okay, great,
Yeah.
great. Oh man, Atlanta. There's so much shoosh, Black talent.
Dude,
In
you know,
Atlanta.
that's one of the
great.
things that I really appreciate too. Cause like, you know, when I was in Orlando, cause that's where I did a lot of those commercials, you know, a lot of the teams that I was on, I love them to death and they were phenomenal, but I was one of 4 or 5, you know, total. And, you know, it was a very small community. And when I got here, I was like, I almost felt like I wasn't Black enough to come to Atlanta, because I was like, you know, not in that space. But when I came here, my eyes were crazily open just at how open everybody was, for one thing, but also just how much of a community there is here to, you know, do stuff like this, because there are people that are just as hungry and just as, you know, driven to create content at this level. And, you know, it really shows based off of what we were able to achieve, because it was definitely not just me. You know, we had a whole team of people that were phenomenal at what they did, and we could not have done it without everybody's ability and their talent.
So when I think of a project like this, like another element that I would know where to begin would be like the stunts and the choreographing of the fight scenes and, you know, things like that. So is this a team of people that you've been working with for a while? Like, do you guys do this all the time? Like, how did you find
every weekend we just get together and just do some crazy stunts every weekend, you know.
Yeah, so how did you find these? You're the showrunner. How did you find these stunt coordinators and even your actors? Like, that's a talent that not most indie actors have. And the lead, by the way, what is his name? Brandon?
Yeah, Brandon Arnold.
He looks so familiar. I'm like, have I been watching him in movies this whole time? So yeah, so go ahead, see if you answer that.
Ty, because I came on after the pilot, you want to answer that question about the stunt doubles and everything?
Yeah, absolutely. I got you. So I'm always under the mindset to hire good people and let them do their job. And so that's where Brandon comes in. Aside from being just a phenomenal actor, he actually does a lot of stunt work as well. Because you mentioned earlier that you may have seen him somewhere. He's doubling a lot of people, like he doubled people in Black Panther and the Avengers and Black Lightning. And so he has that background. And so I was like, hey man, you know, we want to showcase your ability. So get you and your team together and let's make this happen. He's like, I got you. So he contacted his buddy Marquise, who was the stunt coordinator of this particular episode, and then also John, who was the stunt choreographer. And so they both worked together to build the actual stunt team to make the stunts as good as they are in that episode. And all of those guys, they work on, you know, the bigger projects that you've seen on television, all the Netflix shows, all the Marvel shows, and, you know, and everything in between.
Okay, you said you paid, so this was a paid project. So when you hired your talent, but I couldn't imagine that you can make any money off of it because it's a licensing issue or something. Absolutely. So how does that work? Like, how do you pay top people, like top talent, somebody that has Marvel on their resume to work on an independent project? And then also too, what are your hopes or goals with the project? I was wondering if this was a spec show, like kind of they did with Dear White People. I don't know if you remember that. I think that was just a trailer that they put out there as a spec. So what are your plans with this? So the budget, and what are your plans? What would you like to see?
I got you. So to answer your first question, as far as how do you get top tier people on a project like this, you know, it's difficult, but it's also easy at the same time. And the reason why I say that is if you have a good project and a good story that people can get behind, a lot of times you can get them interested enough to be like, hey, let's make this happen. It may not be at the, you know, top tier Marvel rates, but, you know, as long as you're offering something that they can benefit from. So for example, Brandon, he does a lot of stunt doubling, and he wants to be a stunt actor. kind of like, you know, Will Smith and what's his name, Tom Cruise. Like he wants to be at that level.
Mhm.
And so he's like, okay, that's my goal. So that's what I can get out of it. Now I'm the lead. Now I'm doing my own stunts. Now I'm, you know, in front and center. And so I'm doing more acting stuff besides just stunts, and that's what he gets out of it. And then what I get out of it from a, you know, directing standpoint is I get a phenomenal actor / stunt guy that can do amazing stuff. So as far as that goes, it's all about negotiating what is beneficial for you both, and figuring out where you guys can meet in the middle. You know, because a lot of people, especially now during this pandemic, they just want to get out and do stuff. And I'm not saying that to, you know, to take advantage of anybody, but I'm also saying that there are people that are willing to concede in one area to pick up in another. You know, because we all know that not everybody has Netflix money, not everybody has Marvel money, and so as long as you can offer them something that's beneficial to them and it's not going to take up their entire life. Because, you know, in the course of filming this, we filmed it over the course of 8 days, but it was like, you know, a weekend here, another weekend here, and so on and so forth. So we were working around people's schedule because, again, since we weren't able to pay full rates for everything. I mean, some things we did because we just couldn't get around it, but there were other things where you had to, you know, talk it down a little bit. But we were working around everybody's schedule so that they can still maintain their life and maintain their work, but also this is what we can do in our own time. And then as far as like the goal with this project, we definitely want to have this be a Marvel level thing, you know, because it definitely has that opportunity to, you know, I'm going to turn it over to David in a bit because we can talk about the whole arc of the season, because that's phenomenal stuff that you haven't even seen yet. But did you ever see the trailer for Bel Air?
I did. Yes, I did.
Right.
Excellent. Mm-hmm.
It was beautiful, right? And it was the same kind of idea. This dude did this on his own, and Will Smith saw it, and now they're turning it into an actual, you know, episodic season. And so that's kind of the goal that we have for this, because, you know, we definitely have the quality, we have the story, and we're building the audience. And then once the audience gets behind it and says like, yeah, I want to see more of it, then the bigger studios and the bigger companies like even Hasbro and Saban, they can be like, yeah, we can greenlight this for you.
Oh, excellent. And I didn't know, I was hoping that the Bel Air would turn into something. I didn't know they were in the works on that. So that's good news. And it kind of speaks to the 21st century, the world we're living in, where there's just, if someone's keeping at the gate, you can slide through the back door or whatnot. So excellent. So you do plan on releasing a whole season on YouTube, or
Yes.
okay?
I want to say one thing that I think Ty left out as it relates to getting people to want to work on projects like this. It's talent, and talent wants to work with other talented people. And Ty is an extraordinarily talented director.
Thank you.
And just about all the things that he does. And so if you go back and just watch his work, it makes sense that people say, hey, I want to work with this guy. I even said I'm blessed to get to work with this guy before. And what I mean by that is before I can't, like before somebody like Marvel or Warner Brothers or just one of these larger studios says, hey man, I don't know who this guy is, but well, somebody needs to snatch him up because he's very talented at what he does. So I truly believe that that's another reason why we're able to get some of the talent, because these individual people are absolutely brilliant in what they do. And so I'm lucky. Like I really, really like, there's no way a guy like me should be in this position. And it's not because I don't have the mindset or the skill set to do it, but typically there has to be a lot of credits before your name or after your name of what you've done before you get into the spot. To answer your other question, yeah, we're going to keep this rocking. I think right now, Ty, we're at what, 2 seasons at least?
Yeah. So, yeah, this is one of those funny things where, like, literally, like I said earlier, this was just supposed to be like a quick little 15-minute short and keep it moving. And then we released it, and then it just kind of blew up from there. And people were like, hey, what's going to happen next? And so I was like, just wait, we got it planned out. And so I got David on the phone literally that night. It's like, hey, man, let's figure this out. And so we just sat there for hours just talking about what can happen with the story, where can it go? And we wound up with 2 full seasons worth of content. And there's, you know, the funny thing is there's still more to the story, But, we're like, okay, let's slow it down a little bit. Let's get these things done first, then we can finish, what's happening in season 3 and 4.
Wow. So how much have you shot already? Like, have you shot a whole season, would you say?
So we're getting there. We've shot some other episodes. We're still writing the rest of season 1. So there's still plenty of work left to do. And there's a lot of really great stuff. Like I said, I want to turn it over to David so he can kind of hint at stuff, because I have the Tom Holland syndrome. I'll just tell it all.
I will say this. When I talk to people who are really into that Power Rangers universe, what I've heard from most people that I've spoken with is there's a few things that are important. Number one, you got to get the costumes right. Like, and if you saw that, like that was, they hit the nail on the head. It was like, okay, check the box. But typically, you're targeting a older audience that is that nostalgic feel good of watching it. But if you just do costumes and fighting with no story, they'll watch the first few and then they're like, oh, okay, well, that was cool, and I'm out. So what we wanted to do is we said, hey, can we put, a real good amount of time focusing on the story? And when Ty said we stayed up for hours, we created stuff that you're never going to see, by the way, like backstories for these characters in a way of like, we know who they are. It's a fictional character, but we absolutely know who they are. And it's going to surprise a lot of people because there are so many ties and connections to the Power Rangers universe. But this really feel like it really is its own original story that's being told. So that's what makes us excited as it relates to the story we're telling. It's a little edgier, it's a little darker. We are fans of Marvel's format, of just good writing format, where you have to have more context around the purpose of why people are doing what they're doing, whether that's the villain or the hero. And so I think that's what excites us is you won't see a fight just because we have brilliant stunt people and brilliant actors working it. There'll be purpose to everything that you see. And even if you don't realize it when you're watching it, it'll come back around and you'll be like, oh.
Yeah.
And that's what our goal is.
Yeah, so it actually made me want to go back and watch some Power Rangers because I like kung fu movies, period. So I like action, but when it came to Power Rangers, it just always looked cheap or something to me. Even as a child, I was like, what is this? And I would turn it. But this sparked a lot of curiosity to me. And I'm like, I got to know about these Rangers, so I might have to do a little more research on that. But like I said, for it to be able to stand alone, had no one ever heard of the Power Rangers, it's like a good short, like a good episode, and you want to know what's going to happen next with the witch and what she's doing, like the whole credits. And then so it was just great, and I just wanted to interview you guys, put you on this platform, even though it's not that big, but if I can lead some people over there just to experience Black excellence, I am more than happy to do that. We're going to get out of here, running out of time, but I want to let you guys, for my audience here, we have some filmmakers that follow. So if you want to, give a tip or trick or words of encouragement for somebody that's following this path, please do.
Mine is for anybody out there that wants to tell a story, and this is going to sound weird, but it's like actually tell a story. I watch so much and study so many things. I'm a storyteller for a living. I work in the learning and development world, and we have to tell stories to get the point across. And what I find missing in a lot of things that we see is that the story feels so incomplete, and they're willing to have an incomplete story to try and substitute that with action or something like of that nature, saying it's okay if the story doesn't make quite as much sense because something's going to explode. And I just feel like we're getting better and beyond that. And people who, the ones that are really successful typically have this phenomenal story that's behind it. So please just actually tell a story and don't substitute something in for an incomplete story. Like, take your time with it, because Ty told you we were up for hours beyond hours beyond hours. It wasn't just that night. Like, we have gone into as much detail as possible, and we know that most of that's not going to make it in there, but it gives us the ability to understand who the characters are that we're creating.
And I think just to tag on to that, like once you have your story, go and do it. You know, there's always going to be roadblock. There's always going to be some reason why you can't do it. And your job is to go out there and figure out how to do it. You know, because like I said earlier, you're never going to have enough money. You're never going to have enough time, but you have, you know, you have limited resources. And so learn how to maximize that. I know we're running out of time, and so I can't really divulge all of the secrets on how to do that. But, you know, I'm more than happy to connect with anybody. You know, shoot me a text or hit me up on Instagram at Fat Director Ty, and, you know, let's have a chat, because I'm all about just helping everybody get to their goals, man. Because like, there's a reason why we love this industry and love this you know, process. And so, however I can help, man, just let me know. Let's do it.
All right, guys. Thank you so much for watching. And we'll be back. And I just want to thank them so much for coming on, and check it out. And I'll have the links below for their social. Make sure you follow them and support them. Oh, look at this.
At the last minute, you got the fro popping and everything.
Mr. David. All right, thank you guys for
Thank
joining us. And this is not the last year hear them, so just let you know we put them on here first, right?
Yes, ma'am. You got us.
All right, thank
All right.
you.